Shalom and welcome to Yeshiva B'nai Noach. I'm Tom Averna. This is our beginning biblical Hebrew course. As we continue our work in the first Hebrew primer, this is chapter 2. Here's the last half of the Aleph Bet as we look at the Lamed, the Mem, the Nun, the Samech, the Ayin, the Pei, and Fe. And the vowels, we have the Tsere, the AY, A as in hey sound, and the same with the full vowel with the letter, a consonant, also pronounced hey, AY as in hey. And then also the Sagol, the as in bed. And looking now at the last 5 letters and 2 vowels, we have Sadi, Kuf, Resh, Shin, Sin, Tav. And the Cholam, the O as in low, the Cholam Vav, also O as in low. Kibbutz is U as in zoo, and Shurech is U as in zoo. This one is short, this one is long. These are both long. Let's take some time now to practice what we've learned so far. And as always, I am going to read the line, but I'll pause before I do it. I would recommend that you stop the video and practice the line yourself. And then I will pause before the next line, reading it across. And the recommendation is that, again, you read first, do your best, listen, and then stop the video again, and again practice the line until it becomes easier for you to read. Then go on to line 2. So that's the process that we'll be going through from now on, but I may not be giving you the instructions each and every time. Just recognize and know that that is what we're doing. So again, we'll pause before we start each line. Line 1, Zug, Zo, Zo, Zuv, Zi, Zach, Za, Za, Fa. Line 2, Kov, Kod, Kut, Kab, Kuv, Kar, Keys, Ku, Ku. Line 3, Rot, Ruv, Ruv, Roch, Rach, Ra, Ri, Re. Line 4, Show, Shoes, Shoot, Shoch, Shah, Sheet, Shove, Just a note on this line, always remember what you're looking for when you see the two dots above the shin is where should the vowel be. There's no vowel underneath this letter, so you know this has to be this dot to make this a shin and this dot to provide the vowel. Line 5. Su, sol, sus, sach, sid, sav, and say. Line 6. To, tuv, tug, tod, ta, tav, tease, take. Line 7. Mavet, lamut, hiver, ur, kur, vatach, David, dod. And finally, turning to the 5 final letter forms of the alphabet, we have the chaf and the chaf sofit, the mem and the mem sofit, the nun and the nun sofit, the fe and the fe sofit, the tzadi and the tzadi sofit. One way to recognize the sofits, first of all, they are at the end of a word, and secondly, they go below the line in most cases, except for the mem. The final form of the chaf sofit is usually written with 2 dots inside of it. These dots have no sound, so they are the silent shavas. Sometimes you'll see the vowel kamatz appear inside the final form, and that would be pronounced cha, cha. Again, just to show you the examples, in the beginning or middle of the word, the chaf would be pronounced. Same with all of these. We have the mem at the beginning or middle, the nun at the beginning or middle, the fe at the middle, and the tzadi at the beginning or middle, and then at the end it takes its different shape. On page 13, your book reviews some of the pitfalls, the look-alike letters in the alphabet. Sometimes these are also called, some of these are called the mated letters. The 2 letters that look alike are called mates. So we have the nun and the gimel. The gimel has this gap here. We have the nun and the chaf. And notice that the nun has the erect line, the straight line, whereas the chaf is rounded. Probably the hardest for me, the resh and the dalet. Very much look alike if you're reading small print. But the dalet, again, is the very straight, very direct line down from the top, whereas you have this rounded corner for the resh. And then also the dalet, the chaf sofit, and the nun sofit. If you're not recognizing that this goes below the line, could also be confusing. The nun, of course, has the smaller top. The he, the chet, and the tav. The chet is closed. The he has a hole here, and the tav has a toe right here. So one way to kind of tell them apart. The yud, the vav, and the nun sofit. Again, the yud is the smallest of the letters, so that's your major clue there. The vav does not go below the line. The nun does. Bet and chaf very much look alike, but the bet has a base, a solid base to it. The zayin, the vav, and the yod. The zayin, biggest difference is the top is slightly angled, and the line goes down from the center of the top as opposed to from the right side. And of course, the yod being small. The mem sofit and the samek also look alikes, especially on some prints, some fonts. But the samek is a circle. The samek is rounded. The mem is a box. The two silent letters, the aleph, this is the aleph and the tzadi. Actually, the mate, generally speaking, for the aleph is the ayin, which is interesting. But they didn't put those together here. But at any rate, as far as lookalikes go, the aleph and the tzadi, and of course the aleph has the diagonal line, whereas this has a base to it. There's no base on the aleph. The mem and the tet, and then the tzadi and the ayin. And the sound-alike letters, we have the V as in vine for the vet and the vav. As we've talked about before, in biblical Hebrew, the vav is actually a W sound, but modern Hebrew, it takes the V. We have the two silent letters. Again, in biblical Hebrew, as well as in modern Arabic, the ayin actually has a sound. It's a guttural NG for most of us Western speakers, difficult to pronounce, but it is like a it's the G in Gomorrah. Think of the city Sodom and Gomorrah. Gomorrah actually starts with an ayin, so that's where the G comes from. In Gomorrah is the sound of the ayin, but it's a very back of the throat guttural G, and almost an NG sound. Gomorrah or Gaza. And of course, the aleph is silent. It had I've seen, again, we don't know for sure the sound of the aleph, but in biblical times, it was considered to be a glottal stop. And as far as I know, there's no dialect that actually uses that. The one example I've seen given of the aleph is saying the word kitten, but taking out the two T's. So instead of saying kitten, you would say kit-in, and that sound is the sound of the aleph, kit-in, if you think of it that way. We have the the chet, the chaf, and the chaf sofit. And of course, it would have to be the CH sound that you have three different ways to show it, which is a very difficult sound for Westerners also to do. But chet, chaf, and chaf sofit. If you're transliterating it, generally speaking, the chet is written CH, whereas the chaf is written KH, but it's the same sound in modern Hebrew. We have the S sound for the samek and the sin. We have the K sound for the kuf and the kaf. Again, transliteration generally writes the kuf as a Q, a Q. And then we have the tav and the tet, both having the T sound. Okay? And then a note about distinguishing the look-alike letters. We would generally skip these kinds of exercises here, but just to go over it, because when we get into the exercises that ask you to translate English using Hebrew letters, just to emphasize the point of that, which I think is a very important exercise to do, is to demonstrate to you through these that we are pronouncing the sound, or we're writing the sound of the word, not the way it's spelled. So here we have odd, and then we have seed. Here we have sheets. Here we have seen, yacht, goat, doze, bed, pod, which could be the word pad. Again, there's no ah in Hebrew, so you would simply soften that ah sound to an ah. So pod, loan, hate, oats, name, raid, net, tell, bead, tar, two, ooze, cave, deaf, rate, loom, car, meet, zoom, and key. Another point to make here is it doesn't matter on the sound-alike letters which letter you use when you're transliterating in these exercises anyway, the Hebrew or the English words into Hebrew letters. So you could use a kaf here as opposed to the kuf. Would be the same thing, same correct answer or correct way of doing it. There are rules for transliterating, especially names into Hebrew, as to which letters you'd use, but we won't go through that right now. We're on page 14 now of your book and doing exercise 5, reading the following combinations. We won't be writing anything out, but just read it and note the two that sound alike as you're reading across. So again, just as normally we do, we will continue that process. Line 1, Marom, Modim, Manos, Modim, Shalom. Line 2, Notain, Goel, Geffen, Gonev, or Gonev. Nofel, Gonev. Line 3, Yachad, Yosed, Hodu, Hamon, Yachad, Chazak. Line 4, Erev, Tzava, Tzara, Erev, Eitzel, Ose. Line 5, Ratzon, Dorot, Derek, Dorot, Rasha, Shame. Line 6, Sefer, Sarah, Shamar, Sameach. Let's try that one again. Samach, Sefer, Sefer. A couple of notes here, just we've talked about this before, but to remind you again. Dots in any letter but the Begad Kafat letters, and in the modern Begad Kafat letters, it doesn't change anything. In all but 3 letters, Gimel is one that doesn't change, even though there's a dot in it. But if you see dots in other letters besides the Begad Kafat letters, I don't see any examples of that here. But at any rate, those dots double the letter, but really in the way that we pronounce it, we don't tend to hear that doubling all the time anyway, so don't stress too much about that, but just know that's the purpose of the dot, of the dagesh, as we'll talk about in a future lesson. Also a note about the resh, or the resh, or the resh. There's 3 ways to pronounce it, the R sound. The guttural way, the resh, is often pronounced in Israel that way, Israeli speakers, or Arabic speakers. Also could be pronounced with the Spanish trill, the resh, or with the just regular Western sound of the R. Would also work. You'll probably hear me do all 3 from time to time. Continuing with our reading exercises on page 15, this is exercise 6. Line 1. Eden. Elef. Banim. Beged. Shabbat. Lech. Zerah. Chen. Line 2. Choref. Tahor. Yom. Cain. Lechem. Melech. Nasa. Suru. Line 3. Eitz. Adom. Pa'am. Baruch. Tovim. Zafun. Rechem. Kav. Line 4. Rachatz. Kedem. Af. Ach. Yayin. Kanaf. Levi. Magen. Reid. Line 5. Sarah. Ahav. Natan. Achal. Sur. Amar. Avar. Asaf. Line 6. Eretz. Shoel. Or Shoel, probably more correct. Shoel. Saneh. Shana. Zulato. Hu. Ner. Im. Zaz, line 7. Zaz. Valad. Levav. Tzara. Matana. Matana. Rosh. Shavatz. Egel. Continuing with exercise 6 on page 15. Line 8. Akum. Shemesh. Taba'at. Taba'at. Chametz. chametz, la redet, לרדת, שווה, שווה, בם, עם, line 9, קום, זיתים, זיתים, מקום, מקום, נתן, נתן, סוף, אין, סתר, סתר, תודה, תודה. Line 10, tain, shofar, shofar, even, even, boker, boker, yama, yama, basar, basar, ko, damim, damim. Line 11, chodesh, chodesh, yom, kol, kesef, kesef, ata, ata, banot, banot, dorot, dorot, letz. Line 12, of, afar, afar, pe, tzon, shabbat, shabbat, shalom, shalom, bima, bima, sarim, sarim. Line 13, rasha, rasha, ra, acheret, acheret, shomer, shomer, sefer, sefer, rabot, rabot, mea, mea. Line 14, olam, bo, Allah, Allah, bana, bana, haya, haya, zachar, zachar, chazak, chazak, lakach, lakach. And exercise 8, another reason I like this book is they give you interesting, funny exercises to read. These are all English words that have been written in Hebrew. So as you're reading this, recognize that what you're reading are English words. So sound it out, see if you can recognize it. I'm going to just give you a moment, and I want you to try and read the whole thing so you get the gist of all of it, and then come back. I'll read across the three different lines, and then we'll conclude with that. See Betty eat. Eat, Betty, eat. See Betty eat quiche. Eat quiche, Betty, eat quiche. See Bob eat Betty's quiche. See Betty beat Bob. No Bobs were harmed in the making of this video. So that concludes chapter 2 of the first Hebrew primer. Join us again for chapter 3, and the thing that I've noted before, I'll note again to you. Should have done this at the beginning, but at any rate, please recognize that you are asked to purchase the textbook, the first Hebrew primer, 3rd edition, in order to take this class. I don't charge for the class, but I do ask you to purchase the textbook to give honor to those who have written it. And then we'll continue from there. So the next time we'll be taking a look at chapter 3, which is the last of the introductory chapters. In chapters 1 and 2, we reviewed the consonants, practiced those. In chapter 3, we'll take a look at some odd vowels and some of the other areas of grammar that we can cover in terms of this beginning introductory portion. And then chapter 4, we actually begin the heart of the lessons from the first Hebrew primer. So please join me again for chapter 3. I'm Tom Averna. This is Yeshiva B'nai Noach. Shalom.